Hey,
Hey,
mamas.
mamas.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm Jess,
I'm Erica.
and today, guys, we have the lovely Maida joining us today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me and giving me this opportunity. I'm really excited, nervous but excited.
Everyone's always nervous, and by the end of it, we're like 2 hours in, like, shall we go now? Shall we leave it?
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Like, I think it's just the fact that you know you're gonna be speaking about a certain topic, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like where am I gonna start? Mama's Code.
We know you were a really young mom, so we want to know what it was like.
Yeah, I actually found out like finding out I was pregnant. It was literally like a week before after my birthday, my 17th birthday. I had broken up in that time with the baby father. That day we was getting back together, and then changes in your body, and I was like no, because we hadn't seen each other for about 3 weeks. And I was like, what? No way. And literally the next day on my way home, I went to the clinic and I done a test, and I said to the lady, no, like, are you sure? Like, I just started crying. I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, abortion was never a thought for me, but I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna tell my mom? How am I gonna tell my family? Especially because I moved out really, really young. I always wanted to show my family that regardless whether I would be at home or not, I was gonna do my thing. Like, I was gonna tener un futuro, like, like. So now being pregnant, I was like, oh my gosh, like, no, this cannot be the end.
Oh my God, you were like, they were going to tell me, I told you so.
Exactly. So no, yeah, I found out, and then literally I couldn't wait. Straight away, I went to no, actually, after I came out, I called my cousin, and I said we got to meet up now in McDonald's, and it was late. It's about 6, 7, and I told her, met up in the McDonald's. I told her, she was like, you have to tell your mom. She's at the house now. And I was like, oh my gosh, like no. So literally, we got there, told everyone the news. My mom cussed me. And yeah, that's how I found out. Literally, I didn't feel anything until the day I found out I was pregnant.
It's always like that. I remember for Erica's second son, she was like, I don't want to do the test because as soon as I do the test and it comes back positive, all the symptoms are gonna come. And she was literally like, I don't want to do it. And we were like, you need to do the test because it's true. It's like as soon as you see
Yeah,
it positive, it's like all of a sudden, like everything changes. You're like, oh my God, I'm
literally, that's
nauseous. I don't want to eat this, but you were eating 2 seconds ago.
yeah, no, literally, that's what happened to me. I found out I was pregnant, and the next day I woke up with morning sickness, and I had morning sickness for 3 months. Like, every day there was no way that I could get up. Like, when you start waking up subconsciously and you're still like asleep but you're waking up, and I'll be like, oh, morning sickness, and I'll just try and relax, try and hack it. No, I had to run to the bathroom. Like, it was horrible, and everything starts after you find out. Everything starts after you find out.
It's funny you say that because, like, sometimes you do have cases where women do not know they're pregnant. And it's only until they're like, feeling a bit of a pain and it's like, I got a tummy ache. And you're like, where was your belly? Where was all these other symptoms that, we usually get? They genuinely think, they're like, I had no symptoms whatsoever. But had they maybe found out, then maybe the symptoms would have kicked in a little bit.
Maybe, because have you guys like heard of those people? I love watching like these kind of stories, but when women, they don't know they're pregnant and they go to hospital with like a belly pain or whatever and they give birth. I'm just like, that's crazy. Like, you didn't have a belly, you didn't have no symptoms, you didn't have anything. Like, how did this happen? But
I always think, they always say it's because the position of the baby, but I'm thinking it's a whole ass baby. Like, how do you not notice? Like,
going to the toilet every few minutes.
yeah, and like your stomach being hard. Like, I don't,
Yeah, feeling like
it's just
something's like the baby moving as well.
what
How
about
did
the
it?
kicks? Oh my God, yeah.
Even if
Well,
it's kicking.
they say that they don't feel it. And this is what I don't really understand. Like, how is it that you go into like, oh, I've got a bellyache. Sorry, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But as soon as you find out you're pregnant, you start getting so many symptoms, like the headaches. I got headaches like dizziness, nauseous, all that kind of stuff. But thank God it was only for the first 3 months, because after that I was me.
Why was abortion never cross your mind? Is it? Do you think it's because the age that you thought, no, I can do it, or like the way you were raised?
I think, to be honest, I'm not sure where that came from, because I never, like, my mom was never one to say you can never get an abortion, or no, like, I never heard that, let's say in my family or something like that. No, they actually asked me, like, are you going to keep it, are you going to abort it, you know, like they were very like, me apoyaban en la decisión. But I think it's just something that, for example, me, I know that when my mom was pregnant, my dad wanted her to have an abortion. So I think subconsciously, me, I was like, I would never do that to my child. I would never. So I think maybe that's what it was, but I never got someone to say, but, and I always think at the end of the day, when you do get pregnant, whatever the situation, I feel like it's a blessing. And I can say that in my situation at the time, like I said, I had just broken up with this person, like, and then we were seeing, like, if we got back together, and then things happened. But even if it had, like, if it wasn't meant to be, Shayna ended up turning out to be like my biggest blessing, and I'll tell you guys a bit more about that after. But she's like my rock, and I think that happens with a lot of women. Like, they don't realize that they get pregnant, it might not be the best situation, it might not be the best, let's say, the time, they might not be married, they might not have the house, they might not have the whatever situation, but it's a blessing. It's honestly a blessing, and I see a child like a blessing.
Obviously, you saying your mum cussed you because you were pregnant, but how was her reaction?
So I think they were more, when my mum cussed me, it was more like how dumb are you? Like, why are you pregnant? Do you know what I mean? I think it was more that. And I was her little girl, like, I had just turned 17. Like, me thinking about my daughter turning 17 and getting home pregnant, God forbid, like, no, like, live your life. I think that was mainly the family shock. And you know what I found really crazy? That when I found out I was pregnant, the first thing that they mentioned to me was, look, if you don't want to keep it, this is da da da. They gave me all the information. I was like, that's so strange, because instead of saying, look, like, at least talking to the person and saying, look, like, how do you feel about this? Look, no worries, here's an abortion leaflet. Even at that moment, I felt like it was very deep for someone to be coming out to you or to a newly pregnant lady saying, hey, look, in case you don't want the baby, here. But yeah, it was never a choice. So I think that was mostly what my family was more afraid of, like my future, making me understand that even if the dad wasn't going to be there, that I could, you know, persevere, like persevere, I could do this. And to just continue with my dreams, like to realize that my dreams are going to have to change and everything was going to shift. I think this happens with everyone. And once they get over that stage, they are like obsessed with their grandchildren. Like, they are obsessed. Like, my mom was the first, like a week later, she didn't talk to me for a week. And then she turned up at my auntie's house and she was like, she had already bought like a present. She had bought, like, you know, the first little booklets that you put stuff in. She bought that. I was like, oh, okay, I thought you was angry at me.
So now you want a grandchild.
Exactly. So it's understandable, because it's a 17-year-old having a baby, you know, it's your baby growing up. And then as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I was like, you know what, I like beauty, let me go into a beauty school. And I started doing level 2 beauty therapy. It was hard though, because it was a whole day, and then living by myself, I had to get home, cook, get ready for the next day and do the same thing. No, it was crazy.
When you left home, and I know, and I say them, like, maybe you're different because obviously you've always been like, it seems like you've always been very independent. But when you left home from a very young age, did you not feel that you just still wanted to be attached to your mum?
No, you know, because I feel like as I grew up, it was always me and my mum. And then obviously when we came here, she met my stepdad. But we always had a good relationship. I knew when I was little, I could count on my mom. Like, I would cry to her about things, and you know, I was literally mi ma. Like, I was like consentida. Like, I was spoiled. But I think as I grew up, I became a little bit rebellious, and our relationship it wasn't as good, let's say, because my mom was quite strict. Like, she wouldn't let me out. All these times when everyone was going Hyde Park and all of that, like, I would have to lie and say I'm going to my friend's house to be able to go and then be there for an hour and go back home. Like, my mom was strict. She wouldn't allow me, even if I said I'm going to an open space park. Like, no. So even to go to a friend's house, like, she want to know who's there, who's the mom, what friend, like, tiene hermano, hermanas, tía, perro, like, whatever. Like, she wanted to know everything. And back then, that was embarrassing. Like, I felt like it was embarrassing. I used to lie a lot, so that got me into more trouble. So when I left, I feel like I kind of grew up a bit because I had responsibilities and I could get home whatever time I wanted. But then you realize that once you're by yourself, your friends aren't actually those friends, you know, like, you're there at home chilling and no one's messaging you, no one's calling you to see how you are. Do you have food? Like, are you okay? Oh my gosh, you moved out. Do you need help moving out? Nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? So I think that when I moved out, our relationship actually got better. And when I got pregnant, it was like the best it had ever been. I don't think I missed being at home or having that attachment, because I feel like the attachment actually got bigger or better now that I had moved out. You know, I was able to talk to her about, oh, my man's doing this, like, what I do, or, oh my gosh, like, this girl, like, mom, imagine this. And then like, you know, we became more like mother and daughter, but friends, whilst before I could never, like, no way.
Obviously, going deep into the conversation, did you know that your mum was ill at this point?
Oh, no, my mum was fine. She'll go to the GP and be like, oh, they said my cholesterol was high or my blood pressure or whatever, you know, but no, she wasn't ill at this point. She got ill, we actually found out when my daughter was, it was on January, so my daughter was about 1 year, 3 months. So it was quite a bit of time that we found out she was sick.
And how did you feel when she found out? What was that? How did she come to knowing that this was happening? Did she get really poorly?
It was so crazy because now, like, obviously now, uno siendo mayor y como que analizando las cosas, she wasn't feeling too well for quite a while, actually. But we ended up buying tickets to go to Colombia. Like, the doctors never found anything out. They never saw anything, like, but she wasn't feeling well in terms of she'll eat and she'll feel full. For her, she wasn't someone that was quite big and chubby, but she was like maciza, like, you know. So she's like, oh, this is like, it's quite good because I'm losing weight, but you know, like, it's weird, like, I get really full. So we was like, no, like, when we go to Colombia, she's gonna do todos los exámenes, like, you know, she's gonna do everything, like, you know, in Colombia you pay and they do head to toe, and you know, so she was gonna get that done. But when we was there, actually, like, she felt fine and she was stuffing herself and she was fine. We forgot about everything, so nothing ever happened. Like, we didn't end up getting those checks. But then it started with okay, now she was eating, let's say, I don't know, 2-3 small meals. Now she was eating 2 small meals a day, and they were quite small. Then she began to, for example, she'll be like, oh, I keep burping a lot, like, it's so uncomfortable, you know, little things like that you wouldn't think, oh my gosh, you're sick, you know, it's just little signs that you think, okay, that's a bit weird, like, you know. Or she'll keep saying she'll have like a weird taste in her mouth. Things like that led up, and we kept going to the GP. Nothing would happen. My cousin's wife would actually go with her to the GP. They wouldn't say nothing until I think one day she got angry to the GP, and we basically said to the GP, like, look, like, you better do something about it because she's not feeling well. Like, something has to be wrong. Like, you need to do more. And that's when she got an endoscopy. She got 2 done, and that's literally when they found out that she had, they could see like little masses here and in the colon, I believe, in the colon. No, I believe it was just in the colon, actually. It wasn't up. Yeah, it wasn't up. It was just in the colon. So they found little, I don't know what they're called, like little masses, something like that, and they had to get it checked out. But we didn't pay no like big attention to it, especially because my mum, she was someone that, I think in our family, they were very afraid of sicknesses. Like, se le pasa algo y, oh my gosh, es esto y esto y esto, like, you know. So we tried to keep hopes up, like, oh, tranquila, like, it's okay, like, they can just take it out, or they're going to see what it is, and we're going to investigate, everything will be fine. That was sometime, I think it was before the new year, because after, It must have been at the beginning of January or the end of December. Just before my brother's birthday, she got a call to go back to the hospital because they had to talk to her. So my cousin's wife went with her. I was in college. And they basically told her that it was cancer. That's when they broke the news to her.
Mama, I love you.
It's actually crazy that you remember like quite a bit of how you found out. Like, so my mom, she had a pituitary gland tumor. It's like right here. And she was the same. She would go to the GP literally in tears, like and screaming of how much her head hurt. The GP was like, oh, paracetamol, it's fine, paracetamol. Until one day, like, she fainted, and she genuinely she was just in darkness screaming, and my dad he was like, I can't have this, like, what the fuck? Took her to the GP and demanded that he needed to send her scans or whatever. And so the doctor at the time, he got pissed off, and he was like, I'm not going to see you if you're going to be aggressive. So another doctor saw, and the doctor, she was actually really nice. She sent her literally every scan, found out that it was a tumor. She was literally probably about 2 weeks away from having brain.
Wow.
When you die from brain.
Yeah, like a
brain death. Like she could have been a vegetable
wow.
Basically, I don't remember being told all of this. Like, I remember now because obviously they we speak about it. But for you to remember, like, it's kind of to show that people, when they take in this news, why do I sound fresh? When you're taking this news, it's like you go into a shock of you just like numbness, like you just don't really. And having said that, do you think your mom at that point was kind of like, nah, this is going to be fine? Or do you think she was in denial at any point? Or
I think, like, one of the things that you say that crazy how I remember things, I think it's because all the pointless GP visits that I remember going with her, or I remember her complaining to me about. Like I said, our relationship got better once I had my daughter. So I remember her being at my auntie's house and complaining about, oh, the doctor hasn't said nothing, and she still felt like this and like that. So I think that's why I remember some of it. There's probably deeper stuff that I don't know because I was just, let's say, had turned 18 at the time. And my cousin's wife was the one that went with her to the doctor's appointments. I think that I was in college. But I think when we found out, I think we thought that it was going to be okay because she didn't look bad. She had gone slimmer. She was a lot slim. Slimmer, is that word? Yeah, it is a word, isn't it? Like, she was a lot more slim. But she was okay. She wasn't like, oh my gosh, you can see, like, because there's people that when they have this disease, you can tell that something is wrong with them and están mal. But with her, you could tell that she was losing weight and stuff like that. But so we always had we was always very positive about it, especially because they offered her treatment and they gave her a plan and everything. So we was always very looking forward to no, do you know what? It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But obviously there was a sudden a drastic change from a few days to another. And I believe now knowing what I know, I think it's that a lot of times you can be sick. It's kind of like what we were talking about when you're pregnant.
I was just going to say that. Now that she knew,
exactly,
her body would deteriorate.
So when you don't know you're pregnant, you don't get no morning sickness. But now that, for example, when she found out she had cancer, it's like everything, it just spiraled. It was so quick. My mom found out she had cancer in I think it was the 18th of January, if I'm not wrong. And on the 31st of March, she passed away. So it was very quick. It was very quick. And like I said, I think it's because in our family, there was that fear of oh my gosh, si esto pasa, that's it, So I think that kind of made her in her head, spiral into, this kind of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, and that fear.
Well, how was her relationship with your daughter? Were they...
they was yeah.
Were they really close?
Yeah, because like I said, when I had Shayna, I was always at my mom's house and she would always be coming to visit me. So they were very close. And even she would call me. I'd be near my auntie's house or going somewhere, and she'd be like, oh my gosh, wait, I'm gonna go pick up your brother, meet me at the bus stop, and I got an ice cream for her. I'm like that's literally one of her last pictures that I have with her. Like, we literally met up at the bus stop because she was going to pick up my little brother. I was on my way to my auntie's, and she just stopped off to give Shayna an ice cream. I was like, you're not serious. So they were really close. Like, they were really close. I think that was one of her biggest, obviously my little brother, but Shayna was also un motor muy grande para ella. She always wanted another baby girl. So I think me having that girl for her was just like, it was fulfilling. Like,
you know when obviously she was diagnosed, at that point, did you guys, I know you said you were very positive and you didn't really think, oh my God, but do you feel like you started to live your life and relationships around her differently?
Do you know what? I think like now, when I think back to it, I feel like not really. Or I don't know if I'm not understanding the question properly, but I think not really. Why? Because when she found out, it hurt me, because finding out that your mom has cancer, I remember being in college and I ran out of that classroom. I was like crying in the hallway. I didn't care who saw me. I didn't care anything. Like, I remember just screaming and leaving to go and see her. But I think after that, you just try to be as positive as you can and trying to see that, you know what, it's going to be okay. We're going to get past this. Like, it's happened, but okay, like, we're going to move forward. She's going to be okay. She's going to be okay. And I think that's one of the things that I don't regret, but I feel like it should have been more paid attention to, made her feel like, you know what, it's okay, you're going through this. Like, not so much like, you know what, no, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. Because then you start acting, let's say, normal, which is okay. But if I had a choice, I would have been more in terms of like, no, like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I'm making
sense. Taking the moment a bit more.
Yes.
Because I think you were so lost in being positive, and because there's so many treatments, I think you didn't think it would go like that and as fast as it did. Because the thing is, when you say, I think when people hear the word cancer, a lot of people tend to think, oh my God, they're going to die like soon, right? Yes, there's cures. There's a lot of, what goes into this and recovering from it. So it's actually really nice that your family took on the approach of being positive, dándole ganas a ella, and, keeping that spirit high, because it is very important. But as you say, it's like, did you almost kind of lose way of being too positive? Or
personally, I don't know, but I don't believe that my family will fill me in as much, because it, like I say, it happened really quickly. And from the moment that we found out she had cancer till the moment she passed away, for me, it's very faint. You know how I told you everything, like I can tell you like the day, everything. When I found out, after I found out she had cancer to the day she passed away, it was very like quick. I can't really, let's say, oh yeah, we had this appointment. No, like, and I don't know if that's because I tried to block that out so much, or because I wasn't told enough information, or because I'm not really sure, or I didn't understand a lot of it at the time. So, for example, the doctor has said that she had a stage 4 cancer. Tell me I had a stage 4 cancer in that time. I had no idea what that was. I didn't know it was something really bad. Call me like ignorant, I don't know, but I didn't know what that was. Like, I just knew it was cancer, and cancer's cancer. But when she found out, and I say that everything develops quicker, my mom started actually, her belly, it looks like she was pregnant because it got so big. So she didn't actually get to receive any chemo. And they wanted to do a whole other procedures. I don't even remember what it's called, but basically when you do your needs in a bag for your belly. But she had that done because they said it was going to be, one, it was going to be a relief. Two, once she recovered from that, she'll be able to get chemotherapy. But it just got worse and worse, in terms of her trying to fight for it. Or her strength wise, I think she fought until the end, because she was always very thinking about, oh my gosh, what's it going to be with Myra, and what's it going to be with my little brother, what's going to happen to them. I think that was one of her biggest fears, of actually dying. At the end, in the last couple of weeks, we actually thought it was going to be, this was something that was going to pass, because she looked so much better in the last week of her passing. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, she looks so good, she's doing so well, she's going to be able to start this chemo soon, and then it was very sudden. It was very, very sudden.
Like, one thing's explaining it to your daughter that, her grandma's passed, But another thing is obviously for you grieving while trying to raise a child and knowing that your little brother has also lost basically el bastón de él. It's quite hard because like I find it like I tried to understand how maybe you were feeling in that precise moment, just as well as you just described, you know. I wonder what was going through your mom's mind in those last weeks, like trying to figure out like, oh my God, like they're going to be alone. Like, who am I? What can I do for them? So how did you manage that? Because you obviously, your little brother lived with your mom, right? And then you not being, you knowing that he's not going to have that connection with your mom, and not knowing, obviously, I don't know where he went, but knowing that he's not going to have her, explaining to la niña that, you know, la abuela's no longer here, but as well trying to deal with everything you were feeling, because losing a mom isn't easy. Like, I have my mom and I can't begin to imagine, you know, and I'm nearly 30, I can't begin to imagine what I would do without my mom. So I can't, you know, for you at 18 to lose that.
But I think, for example, for my daughter, it was heartbreaking because she wasn't, I always thought about, oh my gosh, like, how's it going to be when she's older, you know? Like, she's not going to be able to have her nan, like, things that she's going to miss out on. But my biggest pain was my brother. My biggest pain was my brother because he obviously he had his dad, and a father is just as important. But especially I think for a boy, that mother figure, that love from a mother is something else. And I think that's why I remain strong, so strong in the sense of, I remember crying my eyes out when obviously I found out, and when I went to the hospital and everything. I cried my eyes out, and I was the one that I chose to tell my little brother because I felt like now I had some kind of responsibility over him. And till this day, like, if you ask him, I'm constantly nagging him like a mum because I've taken that role. Like, he was only 10. So for him to have lost his mom so young, I felt like, you know what, get over it. Like, for me, like, get over it. He needs to see you strong. He needs to see you like, you guys can do this. Like, you guys can get through this. And I feel like me thinking how much my family had to see me being strong so that they were not hurt was what made me, in a sense, like, not numb, but I can tell you today that I didn't grieve like I should have.
You took on the role of like soldier, like let's power through. Like, you took on the mom role now with your brother. That I was going to ask, did you even get to grieve? Because a lot of people in that state think, okay, yeah, they passed, but it shocked them so much that they don't realize that they're not grieving as much as they should to let it out. So now obviously when you go continue, you just kind of, you know, chuck it under the carpet and move, basically.
My mom was someone that she kind of held the family together. Like, for example, like, she would be the one to get everyone together. She would be the one to, she was that person, you know, in a family, there's that person that this tia might not talk to this one, or this might be happening with this one, but she would be the one to bring everyone together. So I think when she passed, a lot of my aunties, my brother and everyone was really, really broken. And I would feel like if they saw me crying, it'll make them worse. And I feel like I remember so much. One day, I think I had like, because I was living by myself, I had like a meltdown. I literally wanted to just end my life because I felt like, what was I going to do without the person that was literally by my side during this whole process as a mother? And now I'm going to have to be a mom by myself. And I was just like, I can't do this. And I think it was very, only on a few occasions I can say that I remember where I cried my eyes out to like a family member, which was usually my cousin's wife, my best friend. She's the only person that I would say anything to. So I would literally call her and be like, oh my gosh, like, I miss my mom, and I'll be crying my eyes out and I'll be having like these panic attacks, you know. But apart from that, that's it. Because I felt like everyone had to see me strong so that they could feel like, you know what, it's okay, it's going to go through. And even till today, like, some of my family members cry a lot during Christmas, during New Year's. I can say that obviously it still hurts. I'm a human. Like, I think after that happened, obviously after I came to God and I got like a moment of grieving whilst I was in that process of getting to know God. And I think that during that time, that's when God healed me. Now, like I say, like now, yes, I can still cry about it because I'm a human. I miss my mom, you know. But it's not that pain or not that questioning or not. It's not how it was the grieving before, where I felt like destroyed or completely like broken.
You got closure when you found God.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, before that, I felt like no one could see me broken. No one could see me get hurt. I think I started going out a lot. I would go out. I would have college in the week, and I would be with my daughter's godmom, and I'll leave her there, and I'll go out clubbing, and I was doing so many things, like so many times in the week, because I just wanted to like escape it all. And I think that's one of the ways that I was trying to deal with it. But when I'd go back home, it'll be back to the same thing.
I think in the sense when you talk about you didn't want your family members to see you sad, it was because you were trying to be your mum, who was the one that, you know, always the positive one, always the one that kept the family together. And because you saw maybe how broken and, you know, maybe the family wasn't as unida as when your mum was there, maybe you were trying to make that, not that you wanted to replace her, but you wanted them to feel like a little bit of her in you.
I wouldn't say like for them to feel a little bit of her in me. I would say just so that they didn't see me. Because, for example, my brother had his dad, and me, it was just me. Like, you know, it was just me having to be by myself. So I think it was more like I wanted to show them that I was okay, that I could continue with life, and for them not to feel, let's say in a way, sorry for me or bad for me, which is quite weird saying that, but is literally what I felt at the time. Like I felt like everyone had to see me strong. And
you don't have to answer this, but how did you feel that first night?
To be honest, I don't remember. I remember being at the hospital, telling my brother, them taking my mum away, and I don't remember anything else. I only remember until the funeral, and then I don't even remember after the funeral. I don't know. As much as I wish I could, I don't know. I think the pain is so deep that it's like your memory just blocks it. Like you can lose anyone in the world, but I think when it comes to your mom, like that's the person that birthed you, that's the person that you know is there. Like it's like us, like we're moms, and if the dad is to go to work the whole day, it's okay, they'll be back at night or they'll be back tomorrow. But I think when a child knows that, oh, their mom's gone, it's different, you know, especially when they pass and you know you're not going to see them again. So it's a lot different.
I was going to say, I think it's all the unanswered questions, specifically with you knowing, and it's like all the what ifs. You start kind of like playing it in your head and the demons are fighting, you know, what if, you know, all those GP appointments, they would have seen her earlier, they would have diagnosed her then maybe my mum would still be here. What if? And it's all that, everything's going through your mind and it's killing you. But because I think you didn't get a chance to grieve, that was consuming you inside, and that's why you felt like you had to keep your brain busy, because if you didn't, you just kept overthinking of like, Shayna's gonna grow up sin abuela, she's not gonna, you know, like I felt like sometimes I lost my uncle recently, and my son, obviously he's 6, but I feel like they're so innocent. All he does is, oh, el tío Oscar, and I'm like, God, like my mum's literally in tears, and I know he doesn't do it with bad intention, pero le da, and obviously kids will be kids, you know.
No, but 100% you do question a lot of things, like, what if I would have known a bit more? You know, what if I would have known more about, okay, it's a stage 4, or what if I would have known more about, okay, what's actually happening to her, you know? I feel like if that was now, I would have wanted answers from the doctors. I would have gone about it a very different way. There's a lot of things that maybe would have been different, but because I was so carefree in the sense that I knew, okay, it might be that, but she's going to be okay. She's going to, you know, I didn't take it as maybe as serious as it should have. And a lot of people I don't think did.
My husband's grandma, she had cancer, and she had cancer for like 30 years, but no one told her anything because they knew the moment they'll tell her, claro, ella ya era viejita, she would have died way before those 30 years, que sufrió mucho because los dolores, claro, it's normal que comienzan, and specifically at that age. So I think in that sense, it is kind of like, you know, and I think what kept her here pushing and fighting was you and your brother.
That's something that she would always ask us. Don't keep anything from her. But as much as she wanted to live, she was someone that if you told her that she's sick, she would think the worst. So I think that's what made the roller coaster, let's say, get bigger and bigger, because it was so like era como que, oh my gosh. And you know, we have an auntie, she passed away, but she was a warrior. Like, she was a warrior. She had cancer plenty of times, and she soldiered through it. She was, to her last days, like, she was giving jokes and everything, you know. But you have those type of people, and you have other type of people, which is like, they kind of not give up, they kind of focus more on the sickness rather than, okay, let's get better.
How was she those last days? I mean, apart from her thinking like what's going to happen to them, but like, do you feel like she went off peacefully?
100%. I thank God so much now, because like I said, when I used to go out, on my way to my Shayna's godmom's house, I would go past the hospital, so I'd get off, I'd say hi, and she will see me with my makeup done, the baby in the buggy, and like me saying, okay, mom, like, I'm gonna go out tonight, come say hi, and then I'll go back, and then I'll go. But I'm thankful because on one of those times that I went to see her, the person who actually brought me to church, she was there, and she was talking to mom about God, and she was trying to like, she was just speaking a lot of stuff to her, and I feel like that really motivated my mom. And on the last few days, like I say, like, she looked so well. Like, she looked really good. Like, she could hold a conversation. Because most of the time, like, even if she was to cough or laugh, like, it would hurt her. So at the end, like, she was like, you know, having a conversation. She'll look good. Like, she was fine. And I definitely think that I know that she went off in peace, because when she did go, she accepted God in her heart, and I'm a believer, and I know that when you accept God in your heart, and even though she didn't get to live past that, like, I know that God has taken her with him. And on the last day, actually, when they found her, she had the Bible next to her opened, and she had like a bookmark, let's say, or something next to it, so they saw that she had been reading the night before. So now, obviously at the time, I was just like, I don't care about that. I didn't really pay attention to it. But now I'm so glad that my mom got to know God, and she got to, you know, like, accept him in her heart and all of that.
Mama, I love you.
We've had the opportunity to have our mums supporting us through motherhood, because it's not, you know, I'm not saying motherhood is hard for everyone, but on some days you do need someone to just take the kids or just feel that comfort. Because I don't know if it happens to you guys, but sometimes I feel like I miss being mimada by my mom. So sometimes I sit on my sofa, like, rocking myself, like, I wish my mom was here hugging me. And I look at my son and I think, I know you're mine, but like, I know you're mine, but in that moment I feel like I'm a little girl again. And so I feel like so when I see her, I always make sure that, you know, like, I'm making the most of that moment, because whether she has an illness or not, I believe that you don't know what, you know, no one's life is guaranteed.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but I speak for myself and Erica that we're very grateful and lucky to have our mums. But for you, was your family as much there? I know you were very independent, or how was it? Do you ever feel like me and the sofa rocking back and forth, like, or do you have that kind of like, because it's actually really beautiful when you know, go to bed and pray, and you know your mom is watching over you as well, and when things go right in your life, you kind of know, like, she's looking out for you, and when they turn a bit challenging, you're kind of like, oh my God, mom, yes, I can handle it. You know, I don't think you think, oh my God, why is this happening to me?
Yeah, no, definitely do get those days where I miss her, or like I'd have like a little sit down on the sofa and I'll start crying, and then my husband will be like, what's wrong, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I miss my mom, you know, like stuff like that. It does happen. I'm human, and like, it's your mom, you know. But 100% my family were there for me, and they were, let's say, they're my go-to. So for example, if I'm like having trouble, how to, even day-to-day things, you know, that you would usually call your mom about, "Ama, come here, una lentejas," like, I have those two aunties where I can go to, you know, that I can be like, Tia, like, how do I do this? Tia, how can I do that? And they support me. They're very good at giving advice. Like, they're very good at giving advice. They were there, let's say, for me whilst during that stage, because I met my husband like few months later. So during that time where I was alone, like they were there, and even till now, obviously they're there for me. But during that time where I was literally alone, they were 100% there for me. But like I said, I feel like I just spiraled out. I didn't want to show no one, no, like, oh my gosh, like I'm hurt, like, oh my god, no. I just carried on with my friends, like going out, doing this, doing that, getting drunk, doing whatever, just so that the pain could kind of, let's say, go. It's different for me now to remember my mum. You know, it's a different kind of pain or a different kind of hurt. But back then, remembering that I don't have her to call or things like that, it would kill me. Like it would break me so much. And I think only in those walls in my old house, like they got to see how much I would actually cry and how much I would actually like scream, because I felt like I was going crazy.
Obviously, Shayna got to meet her grandma and, you know, somehow has some memories of her, you know, pictures and things that you can tell her, like, you know, the last thing that she got her an ice cream in the bus stop. But how do you keep your mum's memory alive for your other kids and for Shayna as well, because she's going to grow up and have questions?
To be honest, they know that their grandma's in heaven. I'm just like, they talk about it, for example, because they have their nana from the dad's side. When they ask me, okay, where's my nana? Because they're like, especially Jordan, like he'll forget. So he'll be like, where's your nana? Like, where's my nana? But like your nana, like, you know, and I'll be like, I'll try to explain to him, but I feel like they still don't understand. They still don't understand that, especially Janaya, that I had a mom, or that Nana is daddy's mom. Like for her, it's like, no, that's my daddy. Like, you know. So for them, they're not really. But for example, with Shayna, she's more sentimental to that. She's more last year at the end of the year, we had a little moment where she was like, do you know what, like I miss my grandma, like I wish I would have met her, like I wonder how she would be now. And then we both started crying, and then, you know, but she's more, one, because she's older, and two, because I think she got to meet her, so I can say to her more memory. So when I do say a memory and she's like, oh, what was I doing? And I was like, oh, you'd be doing this and your nan and this, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, like, you know. So she's more entusiasmada con esto que con los otros dos. She would mention her nan, of course, at the beginning, because she had been with her nana. But after a while, when they're like 5 and 6, they don't really think about that, especially because they were so young. I always show them pictures of her, and I have my picture here, like in my room with her, and they know that that's mommy's mom and she's in heaven. And at the beginning, when I said I'm so thankful and how she's a blessing, if I had not had her when I did, one, I don't know if I would still be here, and two, like, she got me through the hard moments. Because when I wanted to just run away and do everything, I knew I couldn't because of her. That's why I say, like, whatever circumstance a kid comes in, she was there with a purpose, and her purpose was to save me, because if not, I don't know.
Amen, literally. Dios sabe cómo hace las cosas. It's just like you said, like, we could sit here and think, what if maybe your mom was ill at the point you were pregnant, but no one knew, you know, and in your mind, somehow, como que, like, that baby was sent to save you.
Yeah, literally. She was there when no one else saw me. She was there to, like, for me to just be like, no, like, I'm living for you. Like, I'm giving in my all for you. I'm going forward for you.
Because also you had just lost a mum, but you knew now the pain she would feel if she lost you. So she pushed you forward and got you out of that deep hole you were in.
Yeah, definitely.
Full circle. How did your mom influence you on bringing up your kids? Like, do you think you see traits of her in the way you do things?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think one of the most important things that I still have from my mom is that I'm very open with my daughter. That's one thing that I know, and not a lot of people may be like that with the kids. And of course, 100%, even sometimes cuando no está ligando, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I remember I used to say I wouldn't be like this. Like, what am I doing? A lot of values, a lot of stuff that my mom taught me, I definitely teach Shayna and the kids.
Thank you, Maida. It's been a very emotional one. So we usually like to end our episodes with a golden tip, so you can base it around this subject or any subjects you want, really.
I would say just value those that you have around. Value them, whether it's your children, your husband, your wife, your sister. Like, just value them and value the people you have around you, because you never know when they're going to go, especially during these times, you know, where people are literally sick and they're gone within a week, they're gone within a few days. Value them, and don't be afraid to tell people you love them. Don't be afraid to share your emotions. I feel like we live in a generation now where, oh, I'm that independent woman, or I'm that girl. Like, it's not good to give out your heart, you know. And I feel like we can't lose that, because although you get hurt and you get broken, and you can get back up, you know, and that's gonna shape you, and it's gonna push you to go to another level. It's gonna push you to grow into that person that you're meant to be. Don't be afraid to express yourself.
Amazing.
Erica, I love you. You see, this is why I don't express myself to her.
Exactly.
I'll send her like really nice messages and she'll be like, lol, okay, thanks.
It's just, she's very coursey sometimes. The other day she was like, gracias, reina, and I was like, who are you? Like,
I know it's something hard to speak on, especially, you know, around this time, but I think it's important to brief out and, you know, and speak, and always remember our loved ones with the best of memories, because at the end of the day, eso es lo que nos queda, you know, that's what's left of everyone.
It's a very sensitive topic, but I know that even if there's one person out there that's lost someone and it can help them, they can know that they're not alone.
Also, guys, just before we let her go, they've started a YouTube channel which is called, I believe, the Flores Squad, is it? Please make sure you follow them, and I can't actually wait. Do you know what? Your daughter looks like a character.
No, she is. She gets in the role. Like, I'm telling you, we're doing a video and she's like, okay, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe. And I'm like, Shayna, like, where did you get this from?
Mama's Code out. Mwah.
Mama's Code.